Welcome once again to Channel 18, and today we're going to start off with the Harwich Conservation Trust. Michael Lack and Matt Cannon are here. And Michael, you want to talk about the Robert Smith Preserve on Bank Street.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. Thanks for having us as we make our way through November. Hard to believe. It's getting colder week by week.
Yeah, it is. Today was cool.
Yes.
Yeah, coolest I've experienced.
I know. Yeah. So we just wanted to talk a little bit about the Trust's largest preserve, and we'll talk more about that area as we move through an eco-restoration project. But we wanted to mention that it just continues to be a wonderful place to walk any time of year, and we just have a few photos that our volunteer Dave Creston took recently. You'll see him soon on your screen. Look at that right there. That's just gorgeous. It's a bench that was put in by HCT volunteers as well as one of our volunteer trustees, who's a general contractor by day, and really sharing his construction skills in putting these viewing benches in scenic spots. But you can see the openness of the area, these beautiful grasses. Any time of year you go out here, you really see something new. It's 66 acres. It's right there on Bank Street in the heart of Harwich Port. And we know that with the passing of one of our founding trustees and president for the first 27 years, Robert Smith, earlier this year, we really wanted to honor his contributions and his dedication over so many decades to HCT's land-saving success over the years by renaming this property the Robert F. Smith Coldbrook Preserve. That's a beautiful little British soldier lichen, I believe. That's just, you can find, again, all things small to sort of large landscape level scenery there. And there's a picture of Bob there. So Robert F. Smith Coldbrook Preserve, now that largest HCT preserve has been renamed. Why Coldbrook Preserve? Because Coldbrook is that stream, really, that main water feature that runs through the buffering wetlands on either side, all the way through the site before it makes its way to Saquatucket Harbor on Nantucket Sound. So we really feel it's a great way to honor Bob on through time. Again, you can visit the area dawn to dusk, free. You just park at the Harbor Master's Workshop parking lot. That's courtesy of the Harbor Master and the Town Board of Selectmen, allowing us trail access through that town property. We have a number of other citizen science projects going on there, including throughout the year, spring and summer, really. Bird nest moss monitoring program. I think you've been out there tending to some boxes that need attention.
Yeah, each year some of the growth tends to come in on the bird boxes a little bit, and some of the birds are a little finicky about how close to trees and brush they like to live. So we make sure we trim around the boxes for our volunteers so that they can monitor and so that the birds can have a safe place to live. So before the winter came, we've done a little bit of cutting back around some of those boxes.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good preserve and well named, I think.
Yeah, and it's also become the site, for our very popular Wildlands Music and Arts Stroll, which we've talked about before. Save the date, 2016. Seems like a long way away, but September 10th, I believe, is the date for the Wildlands Music and Arts Stroll in 2016. But it'll be the Saturday after Labor Day, and we look.
It's a long way off.
It is. We'll talk about that before then. My point is that it's been an increasingly popular destination for a number of activities, and get out there and enjoy it in the winter months to come.
Very good. Now, next thing on your agenda was
Boundary Quest.
Boundary Quest, right?
Yeah, they head out there this time of year, every year. Amazing group of volunteers from a variety of backgrounds. Intrepid. They just head out there fearless into the wilds of Harwich. finding and marking and mapping our property corners and bounds. There's a nice photo, and Matt's been also working closely with this group.
Now, are you really out mapping the new area that you acquired this year?
A lot of the work has been done this fall on mapping the perimeter boundary of the 49-acre Pleasant Bay
Yes,
woodlands.
that's right.
But also, there are many properties that the trust has preserved over time that need boundary marking attention. So this group is sent out as properties, you know, move among our priority list for stewardship.
Now, once you have a boundary set, is that for a long, long time, or do you have to reset it every 3 or 4 years?
Well, we try to keep our costs low, to stretch every donation dollar to its fullest extent, whether it's with operations like stewardship activities or our land protection work or our educational outreach. In terms of stewardship and boundary marking, we try to make as permanent and discrete marking as possible, so that when our volunteer monitors venture out into the field to inspect these boundaries in subsequent years, they can easily identify where the line is and make sure that the area is protected as we've committed ourselves to do over time. You can see one of our boundary signs there in this photo. Those are about 4-inch by 4-inch aluminum based boundary marking signs that are placed anywhere from 6 to 8 feet up high on a tree, or if need be, along a boundary line on a 4x4 post to more accurately identify where the line actually is, so that people can know whether they're abutters or people wandering through where the boundary line of the protected property really is. And talk about that, Matt. That's one of the tools they use, right? Is that the
Yeah, I
transit?
actually can't tell if that's the old transit or not, which
Yeah.
is a great tool. We are lucky to have one of our volunteers with the new infrared system.
Infrared, wow.
Very accurate, and we're really lucky to have so many talented volunteers who spend their time out there. And you know, marking these boundaries can take some time. Getting it right and getting these exact measurements. So as you're saying, 49 acres, you know, they've been plugging along on that one for a while, but there's a lot of bounds out there that we need to find. And honestly, it helps a lot with monitoring to be able to easily see where our boundary is, and it also may help some neighbors identify kind of where our property is as well.
Well, that'll be good.
And they're out there, you know, in all types of weather. I mean, they start roughly in October when the leaves come down, and that's because they can get better sight lines with less vegetation. But I mean, you know, when there was 2 to 3 feet of snow last February and March, even some of April,
Suddenly the boundaries took
yeah,
different perspective.
Their work is suspended during that time,
Yeah.
but otherwise they're out in you know, in some pretty cold temperatures, you know, unless there's snow, and like I said, that kind of puts things off for a bit. But yeah, it's great. They're amazing, amazing.
Now,
group.
does this boundary business go on all year, other than the winter?
Primarily October through April, because when the leaves come out in May, it's just more difficult to see in the field where these boundaries are point to point. So it's primarily October through April. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
And the last thing that you want to talk about today?
Well, we're
is
gearing up on our winter talks,
winter talk.
and we're really excited once again. And they all take place here at the community center. It's an amazing resource. They take place in the multi-purpose room until we get to our live owl program and Meet Your Local Farmers event, which take place down the hallway in the gym. But these winter talks, we've got a great lineup, and we'll talk more about them in your future programs. But one we wanted to highlight now, just to save the date, put it on your calendar, is January 23rd, Saturday, right? These all take place on different Saturdays in January and February, starting at 2 p.m. It's going to be a suggested donation of $5 per person. And it's a presentation by the Atlantic White Shark Conservancy.
Oh, that's right.
To talk about great whites. We hear a lot about great whites
right.
every day, in fact, whether it's in the newspaper headlines or on the radio or television. you can see some photos here contributed by the Atlantic White Shark Conservancy and their partner at the state level, Division of Marine Fisheries. So we know that the lead researcher is Greg Scommel, Dr. Greg Scommel, who we've actually had as a featured speaker in an annual meeting several years ago held by Harwich Conservation Trust, just as his white shark research was really kicking off. But now, I mean, they're just discovering more sharks, different behavior patterns, more and more each season. I mean, look at these photos. It's amazing.
Now the white shark, is this the biggest one?
Well, there's basking shark that also inhabits local waters. They can grow larger, longer than the white shark.
Right?
But the white shark, of course, is getting a lot more attention. Basking shark it really is more of a much smaller prey, small fish.
Will they eat each other?
The white sharks? You know, I don't know. I don't know enough to answer that question. But come January 23rd, and
there you go. Anybody wants to know?
Yes, yes. Now look at this. This is fascinating. Look at that shape. Now, there's actually prey, right, in some of these photos, whether it be or potential prey, whether it be sand eels or here shown haul out for gray seals, which are the main large prey item on the white shark menu. And so with the explosion of gray seals, the population, relatively speaking, off Monomoy, the white sharks have been drawn to our shores. We all know that, right? They're also swimming closer and closer to our beaches. That's been a discovery of this past summer, 2015. And this group, the Atlantic White Shark Conservancy, has grown to support an effort to raise funds to help fund, help support Dr. Greg Scommel's white shark research. And Cynthia Wygren, co-founder and president of Atlantic White Shark Conservancy, will be the presenter on January 23rd here in the community center at 2 p.m. So she'll have wonderful slides, maybe even some video footage, I'm not sure. But we're going to be learning firsthand from Cynthia Wygren about her work and Dr. Greg Scommel's work researching white sharks and what it means for all of us. So it's pretty exciting. We also have some other exciting presentations coming up. We're going to have a talk on native pollinators. By the science coordinator Mark Faraday at Wellfleet Audubon Sanctuary. That'll be bees and other native pollinators, butterflies. Then we're also going to have a presentation by Friends of Pleasant Bay, researchers affiliated with the Center for Coastal Studies in Provincetown. They're doing some studies of the seafloor of Pleasant Bay and other organisms that inhabit Pleasant Bay. And then we're also going to have a presentation by Ian Ives, who's the director of, among other sanctuaries, the Long Pasture Sanctuary in Barnstable. That's owned by Mass Audubon, and he's going to talk about vernal pools. And vernal pools are close to our heart in Harwich because we've been working closely with our volunteers to identify and certify vernal pools. In fact, you've been working on a couple even this past season, right?
Vernal pools, yeah. He actually is running a program to restore and sometimes create vernal pools and habitats because they're such a rare habitat these days. So he'll talk a lot about that and about vernal pools in general.
Yeah. So soon, check out our website, harwichconservationtrust.org, and you'll see the full schedule.
Very good. So that's it for today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us.
And it's our pleasure.
All right.
Thank you.
Very good.